Hey everybody, welcome back to DeHaven Family Farm. Today we're going to be working in the garage, probably today and tomorrow. It'll all be one video here. We have two New Holland 256 rakes behind me that need some work, so we're going to work on those here in this video. So we're going to get started today by taking off these two tires here. Both of them are dry rotted pretty good, and these are the tires that are going to go on. I got nice aggressive tires. I'm not going to tell you why right now. Stay tuned because there's another video coming up that will feature a project with both of these rakes, and that's all I'm going to say about that for now. So again, let's get into taking these tires off. Okay, so the drive side is a little more complicated, not terribly so, but there's a pin here that has to come off so that we can take the drive shaft off and then be able to pop the tire off. So this particular pin, on both sides of the pin, the top and bottom, is a cotter pin. So I'm going to grab a pliers and a hammer and get one of those cotter pins out so I can pop the pin out. All right, after a BFH, pry bar, a few swear words, we finally got the thing off of there. I don't know what was holding it on. There's a little bit of grease in there, you know, I don't know. Maybe it's just a tighter fit than I thought, but seems like if it just has the pin in there that it would be a snug fit but not require a bunch of hammers to get off. So let's get this tire off now. There's that old tire off. All right, everybody, day two on this project. I only had, about an hour and a half on it yesterday. Today I've been working on changing rake teeth out. I got these new ones, you know, and if you can see some of these teeth here, it's maybe hard to see on camera, but they're not sitting right. I keep trying to get them to where they're supposed to be, and they're just leaning all over the place. They're not fitting right. These are C&H teeth, you know, they weren't aftermarkets like the Tractor Supplies teeth. We'll talk about those in just a minute. So I started comparing the clips, these holder clips that actually hold the tooth on, and I want to pass along this information for any of you guys that might be getting into haying or changing your teeth. So this was the original holder clip that was on the rake that I've been taking off, and I've been trying to reuse them. I had a couple of teeth and clips from Tractor Supply from a previous rake I owned. So I started looking at these clips, and I don't know if you're going to be able to see this on camera here. I'll do my best to show you. But the clips are constructed differently. If you notice how deep this clip is, and this one is not as deep and it flares out. So what is happening is, here's my new tooth. I try and put that in there, and you can see right there how it's hitting the bottom of the clip and it's not going flush. And then I put it in this one, and you can see how it goes all the way in down on the clip. So these older clips are not working with the new teeth. Some of these are, you know, original teeth from the rake, and again, don't know if you're going to be able to see it on camera, but line those up. Do you see how much longer the top loop of the new tooth is than the old tooth? And I know that's not worn off because it fits in that holder perfectly. So somewhere along the way, New Holland C&H started making these loops bigger, and you need a different clip to fit them. So while I've been sitting here struggling trying to get all these teeth straight, I probably changed 30 of them so far. it's just been a nightmare. So I just talked to my parts guy, and he's gonna look into seeing about what the clips from New Holland look like. I don't mind the Tractor Supply ones, but every time I've gone in there, they only have maybe 2 or 3 boxes of them, and I don't remember how many in a box here. This is the box they come in. I don't remember how many are in there. Not a lot, maybe 4 or something. So you can't buy a huge quantity in the store. So anyway, that's something to keep in mind if you're going to change rake teeth. I do also want to bring to your attention, so this is a tooth that I got from Tractor Supply. I bought some of them the same time I bought those clips, and you can see the top hook here is pretty much the same size as the new hook. So they've changed the style a bit, but the important thing to know here is that I'm going to try and line these up here. I don't know if you can see that. Let me get you closer. There we go. Do you see how much longer the CNH tooth is than the Tractor Supply tooth? That's kind of an issue with these rakes. First cutting is big tall hay, doesn't matter so much, but if you want to rake second or third cutting here, you've got to have your teeth be fairly even. So it does no good to put 2 brand new teeth on side by side and one's a 1/4 inch shorter than the other one. That's not going to do you a lot of good. So again, just a little tip to keep in mind, if you're replacing teeth, the ones from Tractor Supply, you know, they work fine, but they're shorter than the CNH tooth. So just keep that in mind. If your rake has wore out teeth and you put all of these on, it'll be fine, no big deal, but I don't think I would mix and match the two unless you had teeth that were wore down enough. So again, you want to try and get the bottom of the teeth to be even when they're on the rake. So anyway, just a couple tidbits of information there to help you guys out. I've spent a lot of time fidgeting with these things to find out these couple of things, and I want to save you guys a headache if you're going to be working on one of these rakes. So just keep that in mind. Okay, let's work on this broken cable here that basically turns the operation of the rake on and off. Here is the CNH part number, if you can see that. Here is our new cable. Pretty easy here. There was just a nut, a washer, and then there's kind of a spacer. Just slide your new cable back on there, put this washer back on, and then you put your nut back on here and tighten her up. Get that tightened down and see if we can get this off. This wonderful paint job they did has made all of the bolts and things different sizes. So, okay, so we're going to pull that back down, and we'll come over here, and you got to feed your cable. There's like a guide right here. You got to feed the cable through the guide. Okay, so currently I have this bungee corded so that this lever is pulled to what would be like the off position. So you can see a bolt here with a nut on it. Basically, there's a hole there. So we just shove our cable through the hole, and we'll get it where it needs to be. We'll tighten the bolt and then tighten this nut down, kind of we'll lock it on there. Okay, we got her all tightened up. The nut is snugged up. I just reused the bolt that was here, little PB blaster, and broke the paint loose. We're good to go. Cable's nice and tight. Run through the guide up to the front, and that project is done. There is a broken spring here, and I don't mind one little crack, but this thing is broken here and here. Sorry, I'm not used to my phone. It's just cracked all over the place, and I'm afraid that parts of it are going to start falling out, and then I won't have enough spring to lift what I need to, to be able to lift that up. So to change it, all we've done is we just turn this handle and crank the rod till the threads have come out of the holder here. This is loose. So now we can just take this, pull it out like that, and I'm just going to finish pulling this out and slide the old spring off and the new one on, and then I'll just put it back together. I did get a CNH part. Here was the part number of the spring I got. There it is there. It comes with multiple shims, but I think I'm only going to need one. So let me get this done and I'll show you when I'm finished here. Okay, there's the new spring on. This little spacer washer that's right there was a little bit of a pain to get on. There was some little rust spots here and there, and being that that washer was new and tight, I had to use a dead blow hammer in a couple spots to get it to smooth, to get it all the way across. But other than that, you can see the rake's up off the ground now. Basically, we just put the threaded end back in here and cranked her up and it was done. So I am really glad I changed that though, because this is what I found when I took it apart. These are all spring pieces with the exception of that washer spacer on the end. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 pieces there. So it was, I thought it was broken 3 places. It was actually broken all those pieces you see there. So I'm glad I changed that. So let's get on to the next thing. Alright guys, so I'm working on this U-joint here to replace this drive shaft, and I'm not going to be able to show you everything. It's very hard to see in here. I tried cleaning some of this up, but basically there's these clips here that are on the inside of the joint, and right now I'm working on banging them off. I don't even know if you can see, the one is right there, but I got to get those off and then I can get the U-joint out of there so we can work on putting the new drive shaft in. So alright, the fight continues here. I ended up cutting the U-joint out even though I got the clips out. These caps here, one on each side, refused to come out. You can see I was grinding on them a little bit because it looked like there was a little lip, you know, from hitting it with the hammer. So I wanted to make sure that I got everything cleaned up. You can see the seam there going around, but neither one of these will come out. I've been beating on them, grinding a little bit to try and loosen them. I think the next thing I'm going to have to do is just try and drill them out, and if I get the hole big enough, then maybe I can get some kind of reaming tool. I think I have a little air chuck thing that I could try and grind some of this out, but that's kind of where I'm at. I think they're just so rusted in there I cannot get them to move for anything. So that's where we're at. We're gonna try and drill them out, I guess. Okay, I was able to actually get those out. It's another day. I let them sit overnight. I'd soaked them down with some penetrating stuff and beat them out of there today. So the next thing we're gonna do now is go over to the vise and we'll start putting some of these pieces together and we can get this back together. All right, so we got the end of our shaft in here. Here's our U-joint. You gotta be careful with these caps. For anybody who hasn't worked with them before, there's a bunch of like little needle bearings in there, and if you lose one of those, you're in trouble. So we're gonna carefully take off these two here. And we'll get this down inside of here. And then we'll carefully put that in. And let's grab this one, slide this guy in. All right, well, we got one lined up. I went just a hair too far with it, so now we'll work on getting a clip in. And then we'll have to flip it over so we can put the other clip in. The clips go on the inside. They're a little different than the ones I'm used to that go on like a snap ring on the outside. So, okay, we got that one done. So now we'll have to flip this around and push it so we can get the other clip in there. There we go. I think we got it now. Be careful when you put these clips on, because if they slip, it can fly up and hit you. All right, she's in there. All right, let's see if we can fight with this a little bit here now. Careful again with the cap. You don't lose those needle bearings. Get that in there. Get the cap kind of started, kind of, sort of. I'm sure there's a special tool for this, but I don't have it. So we're going to use a C-clamp to pop these in, I hope. All right, we got one tapped in. Let's see if we can get our little snap ring in. Watch your eyes. Okay, that's in there right there. Okay, good to go. All right, so we're just about ready to start putting this back together, put the tires on, stuff like that. But you can see here all the goop and old grease and whatnot on this hub. What I'm going to do here off camera quick is just clean all this up, make sure everything's, like I said, nice and clean. And we'll start with fresh grease in it, so I won't bore you with that. All right, I'm going to do the best I can to show you guys here. This is the old U-joint that came off the old drive shaft that was there. So there was nothing wrong with it. So we're going to put it on the new drive shaft. Just got to, sorry you can't see, just lining up some holes to get a bolt in, that's all. Okay, so there's that on there. Now we basically need to line this up and see about getting these two together. I got another bolt for that. Okay, I think we got everything lined up. I did get a couple more of these little spacers. They're almost like a thin washer. There was one in there, but there was some play. So I got a different one because I think it was wore out. So now what we're trying to do is just get the holes lined up here and get our bolt through. My battery's dying, so I'm kind of at the mercy of that right now. There we go. I'm just going to tighten that up and we'll move on. All right, guys, that's about it, I think. I got the teeth on, I got it greased up, and I think that's it. I think pretty much it's ready to go. You know, the new tires are on. I think you've seen everything. The only thing I didn't show you on this was what I did to deal with the teeth. I did not want to buy all new clips. I did have my parts guy get me some aftermarket ones that were only $1.50 a piece, but they were so loose and sloppy they wouldn't work right. And the ones from CNH, you know, New Holland, whatever, were $3 a piece, and I was not going to change out all those clips because the hook wouldn't fit in. So what I did, just show you an example here. I didn't do it to this one, but the very top of that hook, sorry, I'm on my phone, it doesn't want to focus. Very top of that hook, right above my dirty thumb, I cut that off with the grinder on every single new tooth I put on. So that was, I don't know, I did at least 60 teeth. So once you knock that little 3/16 of an inch off the top of the hook, it will work with the existing clips that I had. Again, the Tractor Supply ones were fine. Those would accommodate the new hook very well, but I didn't have very many, and Tractor Supply hardly ever has any in stock, and once again I'd be having to buy all new ones, so I opted not to do that. Anyway, that finishes up this video. I know it was a little bit long. I tried to kind of have things be informative in case anybody's working on one of these things or wants to buy one. They're not a bad rake. So again, not a professional mechanic here, but any questions, leave it down below. Any comments or experiences you've had with these rakes, feel free to leave those down below as well. Thanks for watching. Again, hope you enjoyed. Hope it was informative. Please don't forget to subscribe and the thumbs up on your way out the door. And I sure hope to see you on the next video.